she comes. Yay! Ah! Okay, this is way more fun. I want to get this stupid thing off
I'm trying to figure out how to get this to my page, people.
Hide name. There we go. Okay. Yay! Okay.
Yeah.
So, hi, Beth.
Hi.
Hi. All right. So let me just do this real quick because Beth and I could just sit here and chat it up all day, and we love each other. But I want to introduce, for those of you who do not know, my amazing friend, Beth Osmer. She is a spiritual empowerment guide who's helped thousands of people across the planet let go of their past and live a more potent and power-filled life. I'm going to have her dig into who she is and like her story and how she came to be doing what she's doing. She lives in San Francisco, married to her husband, Peter, and has a couple of pets and also your daughter, Samantha. Beth, welcome to Soul, Wit, and Wisdom today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
You're so welcome. All right. So let's, join me live on this link. Oh, okay, cool. So I'm looking at like where I can do like chatting and stuff. So
I'm wondering, I'm trying to share it, but
she's trying to share it. It's all good. So let's do this. I want you to kind of, this is how I've been doing this, is really share like your story, like how you came to be doing the work that you're currently doing in the world. And really what I love hearing about is, because we're in this time of uncertainty and some people are feeling very afraid and things feel like they're changing and they stopped. How have you dealt with in your past? What have you learned? What have you experienced? What have you discovered to help you during times like this to thrive? So tell, because I know part of the story, but I want to hear like, how did you become doing, like, I know you've been doing this type of work for the last 15 years, but what was life like before?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so I'll give you the abbreviated version. I had a very traumatic childhood. I lost both of my parents before I was 5 years old, and after that, I was tossed around from one abusive home to the next. And each home had its own abusive flavor to it, of physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse. And so I grew up thinking I was worthless. I grew up thinking that I wasn't wanted, which in a lot of ways I wasn't wanted. And I just grew up with very low self-esteem. And so from there, I became self-destructive, and all like the typical things that you do when you don't feel like you, when you don't believe in yourself, when you have really, really low self-worth. So, so I had been in and out of therapy since I was 8 years old, because obviously there was so much trauma going on. There was like people were trying to help me along the way, but so I became an incredibly like savvy therapeutic client. And by the time I reached into adulthood at 28, I decided to get sober because I was drinking a lot and just acting out. And I knew that if I didn't stop my destructive behavior, my life was just going to be shit. Like I knew that. So I decided to get sober, put myself in rehab and all those things. I was like really needing deeper work than talk therapy at that time. Like while I quit drinking and I quit doing all of these destructive things, I was still engaging in patterns. It was like I was sober, but like all my stuff was still there. And I was like, why am I having broken relationships? Why am I still doing this? Why am I still doing that? And I couldn't think my way out of it. Like I couldn't like do affirmations out of it. Like I needed deep soul work. And so that is when I started searching my spiritual nature. I started looking for something deeper. And I started working with a shamanic teacher and a hypnotherapist and an energy worker. It was like this combined work. And after the first session, I noticed a massive difference. And so I started just working on myself with her for a couple years, and then started studying the work because I was like, wow, I can actually really heal. Like I thought I was broken. Like I thought I was completely broken.
Yeah.
And unrepairable. And it wasn't true.
Yeah.
So that's how I started down the path of like my own healing and then helping others.
So one of the things you said that I heard, I couldn't, I think you put it this way. I couldn't think myself through it. So like, because explain to people, I'd like therapy is great. And it also really deals with our mental, our mental constructs.
Mm-hmm.
But for you, you had been doing this for a really long time and felt like how did you know that it just that it just wasn't working the way, how did you know? How did you know to go deeper?
Well, I wasn't getting the shifts. Like I could just feel that there was more to do. It was not all in my head. I could feel that my soul and my spirit, I needed to feel it on a deeper level. And for some people, talking about things, I mean, that's a great start.
Yeah.
It's a great start. And some things you can like get a different perspective on things.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, okay, I can look at it that way and shift. And then there are some deeper traumas. There are some deeper wounds that honestly, it's very difficult to think your way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like the soul has been damaged. There are patterns that run super deep. And I just knew that. Like I was searching. I had done so much. I did breath work. I did EMDR. I did all this spiritual work. I tried different religions. And it wasn't until I found shamanism. And part of it was like, I might have just been ready, like really ready to shift. Like I probably would have stared at a blank wall for hours if I knew that it was going to shift these deeper patterns, because I was sick of myself. Like I was sick of myself.
Yeah, well, it speaks to that. I mean, I did therapy for probably like a year and a half, and I just remember being like, this can't, this, and I didn't have that kind of trauma. We all have something. I didn't have that kind of trauma that you had, but I was like, it was slow. It was a slow process. It was probably exactly what I needed at the time. So can you do me a favor and tell people what shamanism is?
Yes, shamanism it's a very, very old form of healing. And I do not call myself a shaman. I use shamanic principles and tools to support people in healing. So a shaman is someone who is a healer, and a shaman is able to navigate between the worlds. But the veil of the meaning the spirit world. They work with spirit guides. They work with animals, elements, the earth to facilitate healing. So they're seers, they're seekers, they're truth tellers, and they're able to deeply work on someone's soul and spirit to facilitate deep healing. Like they can see it all.
What are the where did shamanism originally start? And I'm asking this because this fascinates me. And I know that there are people listening who are like me, who are like, what is this even? What is this? And I'm learning all the damn time. I love it.
Isn't it fun?
And I love it.
That's a great question. I think shamans, I don't even know. I couldn't tell you exactly when and where it started, but it's thousands of years old. And there's shamans in different traditions, right? Like a lot of them are South American, come from Peru, down below Guadalajara, all different kinds of shamans from different regions. And then, there might be a shaman in the Native American culture. There's different types of shaman. Shaman just means healer, right? And some of them in some tribes and cultures, like they know that that's who it is from birth, right? They're like, that's the shaman. Or they've been born into a lineage. Oftentimes they're born into a lineage and they're groomed to be the shaman of the tribe or to be the shaman of that area. And you can even think like Dalai Lama is the shaman, right, of Buddhism, because they all knew that he was the 14th Dalai Lama, the one that we currently have. Like he was born, as soon as he was born, they knew this is the Dalai Lama, and he had been groomed, right, from the beginning to be the Dalai Lama. And the 14th Dalai Lama that we are in now, and he's older now. We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when he leaves. Like, who's the next Dalai Lama? Who's the next shaman, so to speak, of the Buddhist community?
So it's a leader, it's a healer, it's really someone who, I mean, what I heard you say earlier too was like connected with the earth, like before we had the constructs that we have now, which is we were really connected to the earth. And I know you, and I know a lot of your actual like practices and like things that are really important to you, and a lot of it has to do with being in nature?
Very much, very, very much. Like I live in a city, so I live in San Francisco, which is a city. We do have a lot of nature, but I make sure that I am very connected to nature. Like feeds me.
So out of the trauma that you experienced, out of, going through therapy and then shamanism and all of these things, what part of what we talk about on this interview series is really like, what are some of the things, because I know you, and I'm going to just pretend like I don't, because I know there are people who don't, but what are some of the practices, what are some of the opportunities that are available to us right now? What is, from your perspective, what are some of the global opportunities like for human consciousness? Because really this is an individual decision, right? Like I get to make decisions about how I interact with the reality that's in front of us right now, and also for humanity, because there is a collective consciousness. So what are some of the things that you see as an opportunity for the planet right now?
That's a great question. Well, you asked two questions. One was like some things that are available to us now to continue growing and healing, and then what's also being presented as an opportunity during this great changeover that we're in. We're in this massive global breakdown because we're in a massive global changeover, and things have to break down before they shift. And we all know, even if you had like the perfect life, we all know that the way we were treating our planet, the way things were going, it wasn't sustainable. We all felt this collective guilt. Whether you knew it or not, you felt it. And so we all know on some level that this was somewhat, I mean, it's not easy and it's really challenging, but things weren't not working. But old. So we're in this great changeover right now, that from the Piscean to the Aquarian Age. This is where we are. We're like moving.
Okay, you need to explain what this is, because this I will geek out on this, and this might be the entire interview. But
I don't know that much about it. I'm not an astrologer by any stretch of the means. But I do know that if you're an astrologer, do not hold me to it, because I don't know what I'm talking about. But I do know this. We had been in the Piscean Age, and I believe each age lasts a couple thousand years. Again, I'm pretty sure. In the Piscean Age, what, from my understanding, my very limited knowledge, was all about systems, conquering, like very masculine, very like takeover energy. And if we even think about like the school systems we've had, like remember like when we were younger, we'd all sit in a row, one after another, and we'd have our pencils out and we would regurgitate information, and we were good little like soldiers, like learning, masculine, conquer, do what you're supposed to do. Women are a little below, men are above. Like that was the age we are in. And now we are moving, like we're very young into the Aquarian Age, which is feminine. So they're saying, again, I don't know the exact timeline, a couple thousand years going into the Aquarian Age, and we're at that changeover. So it's like shifting. It's like, if you think about it, it's like, think about like the political system right now. The old white man, they're fighting for their survival. They are literally fighting to stay in power. And there's a lot of stuff coming up and getting mixed up in that. So and we're, the Aquarians, feminine, community, brother and sisterhood. You can even see things like the way they're doing schools now. Kids are sitting in circles more, right? We're more of like trying to do project based instead of regurgitating information. So it's slowly been moving into that age.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a fight. And there kind of is a little bit of a fight to keep
the old, keep this paradigm in place, because it benefits some sectors of humanity.
It does. It does, but it's not for the greater good.
So for people who are feeling, and maybe here's what I sense. There's a big portion of humanity that is so out of touch with this sense of like this isn't right, or we need to make a change, or they've never they've never said anything publicly, or they've never admitted it to themselves. You know, Beth and I, I have my notes from the other day. We were talking, and it says, what did you say? The secrets. It's over there.
We are only as sick as our secrets.
We're only as sick as our secrets.
That's an AA term. I learned that in Alcoholics Anonymous. All right, that's I just kind of blew the cover, but yeah, that's an AA term.
All good.
That's a 12-step term.
Maybe we can block all that out. It's all good. We'll edit. It's all good. So we're only as sick as our secrets, and really, what that's pointing to. Sorry, I've got someone calling in here, and I have not DND'd my phone. What that's pointing to is that we really have been trained to. This is how it's going to go. Hey, I'm currently recording an interview right now. Is everything okay? I'll call you back.
Who is that?
Okay, bye. It's my sister. She FaceTimed me twice and then called me, and they were like, you gotta just make sure, like, is anyone, like, are you safe? You know, like that.
Real. We gotta, like, this is.
I ain't trying to be like.
I love it.
I know. So, okay. So, what were we talking about?
We were talking about sick as your secrets. You're only as sick as your secrets.
Yes. So even, it's so interesting because I've been seeing it everywhere. I've been seeing the patriarchal systems that we have been, raised in. You were talking about education. I was literally just having this conversation like yesterday about all of the systems that we're in. Where I'm at right now with my life is, and I have been for a really long time, for more than 20 years, is questioning everything. Like, question everything, like question the systems that you're born into, question the paradigm that you're born into, question, as women, as strong women, as female leaders, as entrepreneurs, as mothers, I feel like we're inherently like, wait a minute, like, like we're intuitive and we've been oppressed. I was having this conversation with my daughters. We were watching something on TV, and I was like, yeah, I want you guys to pay attention to this. And they're like, why? And they said, because we as women were not allowed to do certain things. We weren't allowed to vote. We weren't allowed to, we were put in roles and places. And listen, it is what it is, right? And that's the system that we're coming out of. And so it's going to be disruptive. And it's especially going to be disruptive for I believe the people who, like, very uncomfortable for the people who either really like the way, like, they don't like change. They really want to keep things the way they are. So given that, let's just say, given that we're in this sort of global opportunity and we are we're switching. It's been switching. It's not like it's happening because of this. It's been, we've all been feeling it. If you're in any sort of kind of work that you or I are in, we have been feeling this. Like, what is this pull? What is this calling that I've been drawn to? And it is that. How do you think, what do you say about, like, this turning of power? How do we navigate this?
Wow, that's a good question. The first thing I'll say is there's a lot going on right now. And I can feel it in my heart. I can feel the heaviness. I can feel the sadness. I can feel that people, including myself, are starting to feel a little cooped up, like we're in Groundhog Day. When is this going to end? So, like, I really want to honor that. There's a lot going on, and as a whole, globally, there's suffering happening, right?
Yeah.
And we're in this, and we are suffering. Some people more than others. Yeah. And so, what I'll say is, this is the time to work on your spiritual and mental health, your spiritual and mental well-being. And I'm gonna use our trainer. We have the same trainer. He uses this term all the time: be a maniac on a mission. Like, get your mission and be a maniac on your mission. And that's been my mission for 15, 20 years is to
Right.
support people in their spiritual health, spiritual
Yeah.
well-being. But right now, there is no other time than the present to really, really look at your relationship to yourself and what is coming up. Because those of us that are doing okay, I mean, like, I don't love this. I don't love it. In fact, I'm a very social person. So I
Yeah.
miss that, but I'm okay. Like, I'm fine. I
Yeah.
can feel sad. I can feel mad. And I know I'm okay because of all of the work I have done. I have a core. I can come back to myself. The freaking sky can literally be falling and I won't like it and I'll have feelings about it, but I'm not going to lose power over it. And this thing is like, and of course, some days are better than others. Some days,
Right.
like I just lost my cat. Like I
No.
was sad. But the thing is, I can lose my cat and say goodbye to my friend of 14 years who's been there like every single day. But I also don't need to lose power over it. I don't need to lose any power. My cat doesn't want that. And so this is the time to really get aligned with your spiritual health and find your power. Whatever you're holding on to from the past that is holding you back, it is time to let it go, to look at it, transmute it, transform it, and find your power. Because the mind is powerful. The mind is so powerful. And this is really the time to look at things, shift things, and find out how your mind, your soul, and your entire body can align. And I promise you, you will get through this with a lot more grace and a lot more ease and a lot more flow if you take this opportunity to work on your spiritual well-being.
So what does that look like? So I know you said aligning your mind, your spirit, and your whole, your body, your whole essence. How does that happen?
That's a great, yeah. How does it happen? Well, for one thing, if you have never, like we were talking about therapy versus like deeper spiritual work,
Right.
like even if you've never been to a therapist and you're like, I just need to talk to someone, like this is the time to do it, to reach out to people. If you've done therapy and you know you have more to work on and you want some things deeper, this is the time to do it. It's like really starting to my advice, I don't really have advice, but like reach out, like get the support and where you're drawn to. You might be drawn to Western medicine or Western like psychology. You might be like, wow, I really have wanted to study Buddhism. I want to learn how to meditate to quiet my mind. Like this is the time to do it, and you don't have to do it alone. And if we all know our stuff, if it was like before the virus, it's just being exacerbated now. So reach out, like do the work and reach out. You don't have to do it alone or take it out on other people or yourself. I just saw him. He maybe was probably, I don't know, 19, 20. My husband and my daughter and I went for a walk around our neighborhood and we had this like, oh gosh, what is it? A reservoir. So he was up on the top of the reservoir and he was drinking in the middle of the day. It was noon and I'm not judging him. It just made me sad. He was eating candy. My daughter was like, he's just eating chocolate and drinking beer. And my husband was like, he's lonely. You could feel it. Like, feel how lonely he is. And so it made me like, those are things like you don't need to be drinking beer at noon. And it's not a judgment, but if you're doing stuff like that, reach out.
Yeah.
Okay? Reach out for support and help. There's a lot of people out there that can.
Well, and that's why I'm doing these interviews. That's why I know you're doing this, Spiritual Warrior Summit. We'll talk about that in a minute. So I don't know if you know this, but I posted on my personal page, and it's so crazy that you said this. But one of the things that you said is your relationship to yourself, and that is one of the things that I put in my promo copy when I was putting something on to about promoting that we're going to be going live and that I was going to be talking to you. Is this is an opportunity to really stop for a minute and get connected. We really look at your relationships, and the most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself. We think that life is happening out there, and really, like, this kid at the top of this reservoir has a relationship with himself that is probably not the highest it could be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was what I felt. I made up a story about him, but it was just an energy and a feeling. And I said hello to him. He was just so sweet. And I just wanted to take him and be like, come hang out with us. Like,
Yeah.
what are you doing, you know? But yes, the relationship to the self, it took me, oh my God, it took me such a long time to get that concept because I was an ultimate victim. This happened to me. They did this to me. The world is this. This is that. Everything from the outside was why I felt like crap all the time. And yes, things did happen.
They did. Yeah.
They really did. But it was like I had a choice as I got older if I was going to stay in the victim or turn it around. And it took me forever to realize, oh my gosh, this is about me and my relationship to myself and what I want to do with those experiences. If I want to wallow in them, I will wallow. If I want to shift them, I will shift them. And you have choice.
Yeah.
We all have choice. And the relationship to the self, how we feel here, it literally is, it's
colors everything.
It's everything. Every moment of the day comes down to your relationship to yourself.
Well, yeah. And I mean, you spoke about it earlier when you lose your parents at 5 and you get tossed around to people who, you know, don't treat you the way you should have been treated and are abusive and unkind. And we internalize and we believe that must be true about us because out there is what's being said. And listen, you know, that's just not how children treat each other. They learn that. We learn that shit. We learn to abuse other people. We learn to hate. We learn to, be demeaning to other people and to put other people down because as a response to what happens to us. So that shit is passed down. That shit is learned and passed down. And it takes something because I know I was a victim as well. You know, I was a victim all over my life. Why isn't it working? This person sucks and that sucks. And, you know, and so it is us taking our personal power back to know that we are the source and creator of our lives, every single piece of it. So it's super powerful. So talk about, so I want you to talk about how you personally create fun or lightness or, you know, high energy when it isn't like there's no evidence for it out there. And the only reason I'm asking this is because, first of all, Spirit says, and then second of all, I don't know, maybe we can talk about that. Second of all, you know, the name of this interview series is Soul, Wit, and Wisdom. And really, because you know me, and I'm like I crack jokes all the time, and it is a big part of who I am. And I know you too, and I know you're really funny and silly and hysterical. But talk about like how you bring light. How do you what brings you joy and laughter and humor and wit?
So that's such a good question. You know, I just want to share real quick.
Please do.
Okay, so sometimes even in session work, right? Like when I'm with someone and we're in a heavy moment and they're really in their stuff and like, oh, I can't do this or I can't do that because this happened to me or I'm overweight or whatever the story. So, you know, bringing humor even into those moments in my session work can be incredibly healing. Okay, so I'll show you this. This is one of my tools, and Kristen knows this. Okay, so let's say this is so fun. I love doing this. So they're in there like, I can't. I'm to this. I don't have him. Blah blah blah. And I'm not demeaning that. Like I'm holding space for them and loving them.
Yeah.
And I'm using it in the right time too. So I'll be like, okay, well, I just want you to hold this special rock. It has meaning. I just want you to hold this. And just like, we'll break it up. And I'm like, just look at it. It's like a dragonfly, very powerful shamanic guide. Isn't it gorgeous?
I know.
And I'm like, I want you to really like focus on just this the can't. Like, you can't do this. And just focus on it. And now turn the rock over. And then they start freaking busting out laughing. And I'm like, what's the message the rock is giving you? Here, can you guys see it?
Oh, what the fuck? Go for it anyway. That is so good.
it breaks tension.
Yeah.
Right? Because and I build it up. I mean, we know this is one of our sayings, but like,
Oh my
I
gosh.
build it up, and like, so things like that bring up, like, so this one time in session, like, I didn't even realize it. One of my clients were talking about her relationship to being perfect and how imperfection rules her life, and how everything, it colors everything. And we have been working on this for like a year, right? And she's very attached to being perfectionism. And at that moment, I looked down and I had 2 different pairs of shoes on, like completely 2 different pairs of shoes on. I had like 2 different flip flops on.
Oh, okay, flip flops.
In this moment, I was like, I just need to stop you.
Just hold,
just hold. I was like, will you take a look at my shoes? And that, she brought in laughter, and like, it was medicine to her perfection nerd. And I was like, her perfection person, right? The part that's running her, like, stuff like that. Like, it brings in so much comedy. And I was like, if I could sit here in a session with you for 2 different pairs of shoes on, you can stop being a perfectionist. And, you know, so we got to like take this lesson. So things like that, like being able to laugh at ourselves, right? And like be goofy and like just let loose. I think laughter is a huge,
it really is. It really is. So
medicine.
Can you talk about Spirit Says yet, or has it not been released?
It hasn't been released yet, but we're going live May 7th. Well, it's being launched May 7th. So Spirit Says is a spiritual comedy. We filmed it today. We filmed a few episodes today.
My gosh.
They're so good.
Oh my God.
They're going to get better and better. You know how you go along.
Yeah.
Spiritual comedy with Tina Paulus Krause. Have you interviewed her yet?
Yes. She was on just a little while ago. She said, hi, beautifuls.
It's super fun. It's a spiritual comedy that's going to be on YouTube. Starting on YouTube, we'll probably start doing lives too as well, just to start promoting it. Yeah, it's gonna be.
It's like a parody, right? It's like
it's a parody.
It's like listen, like a lot of the work that you do, Beth, is deep. It's like soulful work. Same here. It's like, you know, getting to the truth and really, like, you know, doing the hard work and the heavy lifting, and that can be hard work and heavy lifting and at the same time, or in the next breath, be freaking comical. Like,
totally, like with The Rock, right? Like, it's all so sacred and spiritual.
You know what? I can't even imagine, like, if it was me. Here's the one thing to know about me. Some people call me a really good actress, but I'm not, because if the minute that I start laughing, I swear, if I had a rock like that and I gave it to someone, I would have some sort of a smirk on, and like, I don't know if I could hold character until they actually turn it over. But it's like, lighten the fuck up, like, you know.
You just need to
laugh.
So the Spirit Says is a spiritual parody. So my character, Shiny Object, is very true, because I get very distracted very easily. I'm like, la la la.
She's very like Beth. Beth, you're one of the most intuitive, psychic, deeply grounded, like, you just know shit. And then in the next breath, she's like, what?
I'm like
what happened?
One of the last times I went to the airport, I go to the lady. I have a Clear where it's like you get through early, and I go to give her my passport, and I look down and my pants are on inside out. Like that kind of stuff. And I said to her, and I was like, oh my God. I said to the lady, I said, do you see this? My pants are on inside out. And she goes, oh, she had a hijab. Is that what they call it?
No, it's not what it's called.
Where they wear the what is that called? I don't know, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I look at it and I'm like, wisdom.
I know.
Wisdom.
I know.
And she goes, oh, that's a good sign that when you wear your pants on inside out, it means that you have money coming. And I was like, oh, see?
I knew that.
I'm a genius. So we have to laugh at each other, but the Spirit Says is Shiny Object, and Tina's character is SquarePants.
Yes.
Because she plays like the corporate straight lace, straight edge, and I play the like airy fairy woo woo.
It's awesome. I've seen it. There is a rumor that I might be on an episode. Like, there is a rumor that I'm just saying, I literally just created that right now. I was like,
Yes,
okay, so maybe I'll just have to be on an episode. I'm coming
yes,
into that shit. Are you kidding me? All right,
yes.
talk about your spiritual warrior.
Oh
Talk
yes,
about that.
and right now it's ending. It's in replay, but it's still available if you want to hop on the train. I'm actually going to start selling it for a very reduced
The
cost.
whole, all
whole
the
thing.
interviews and
Yeah, all the interviews. Right now it's been free.
mhm.
So we're in replay right now, but I interviewed 21 people and I had no idea when I planned this months ago. I was going to launch March 23rd. I had no idea about the pandemic.
No.
So it's been perfect because everybody I've interviewed, we've spoken into what's going on. So I've interviewed thought leaders, healers.
Your audio just did something funny. Did you touch something?
No.
It just sounds really muted.
Can you hear me now?
Let me see. Are you on your, let me see. Go ahead.
La, 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 la.
There it is. Good. It's great.
Okay. Yeah. So I've interviewed healers, business coaches, transformational leaders, authors, speakers, and it's a really, really amazing series.
That's awesome.
I can put the link in the chat.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So tell me, I'll just type it in there right now. What is it?
www.aspiritsays.com.
No, a spirit warrior.
Oh, sorry, a spirit warrior.com.
We have to remember what we're talking about. aspiritwarrior.com. Now, this is this, and you know what? I apologize. I actually didn't look at your gift. What's your gift? What are you? Oh, it's a call with you.
Yes, I wasn't sure what to do. Sometimes I do a meditation, but today I'm offering a free 30-minute soul discovery call with me, yours truly.
Awesome.
And we can talk about what's going on with you, and I just get to pour into you for 30 minutes. Like,
and trust me, you want this. You want this from Beth. So how to get access to it's not up on the page yet because I haven't done it yet, but I will. And I'll put the link in here for getting Beth's free gift and any of the speakers who've been on the series. It's witandwisdom.com. That's how you actually get Beth's free gift. Get on her calendar, get a session with her. Trust me. I have had the privilege of being guided and counseled and mentored and coached by Beth. It's next level. It's absolutely next level. You're exceptionally generous, and also she just sees shit. So, I mean, this is kind of how it goes. Yeah.
See right through you.
I can see all through the bullshit. All right. So here's the last question that I've been asking all of my people that come onto the show. What is the meaning of life?
Spirit says that's a big question. Okay. All right. Here it goes. I don't know.
Answer however you want. Spirit says answer that shit.
That's a great question. This has been my view of why we're here in this human experience. So I remember, I'll be quick, but when I lost my dad at 5, like I said, I didn't have my mom. She left at 3. She went into an institution. I've only seen her once since. And then my dad killed himself when I was 5. But the heartbreak, it's so unbelievable for like a 5-year-old to even begin to understand. It's so intense, right?
Yeah.
But I do remember thinking over and over again, God wants me to learn something. I knew, what is it? I knew that I didn't have all this suffering and loss for no reason. And I would pray to God, even at 5, 6, 7, God, what do you want me to learn from this? When I was going through major abuse, major loss. And I just knew it. I knew that I was here for something bigger. I knew that my soul had chosen this life for a reason, and I was here to learn. And so that, even when I was in a self-destructive place with all of it and I had to go, I always knew that I was here to learn. And so that for me has carried. And so my belief is that we are all here to learn. And some of us have deeper lessons than others. And I believe, if we think about the Buddhists, I'm going to just use the Buddhist thing again.
Yeah.
The cycle of samsara is the cycle of suffering. So, and this is how I believe as well. It's like we will continue to reincarnate into our own samsara until we learn. Like, let's say your samsara, your particular samsara is to learn about jealousy. Like maybe you, and if you don't take this opportunity in this
lifetime,
transform it, you just keep going in. And that's kind of how I see in the Middle East, and this is just my perspective, or it's like Israel, Jerusalem, and these parts of the world where they're continuously been in the same fight for thousands and thousands of years. And it's like it's like, are they just continuing to incarnate on one side or the other? And like, when do they get to like come out and elevate and learn? So I believe that we're here to learn, and we can continue to raise our vibration, can continue to level up through the cycles of suffering and cycles of samsara, so that eventually we get to choose a higher level consciousness. And that might be you're in another star planet. I'm not really sure, but that is my belief.
I love it. You know, it's funny because it made me remember that from the earliest age, like I was raised Catholic. I went to Catholic school till I was in 4th grade. And I remember going to, we're here on a spiritual journey. Like there's just no denying it. Sorry, not sorry. And sorry. I remember going to confession and being so little and being like, I haven't done anything. Like I remember being like, I chewed gum. I remember going in, like walking up being like, find something to confess, find something that you have, you go in and you tell the priest that you did this bad thing. It's like, I remember that it just didn't make sense. None of it made sense. And then I remember thinking, I wonder what I'm going to come back as. I remember thinking this. I remember thinking about like the little gnats that like would like die, and I wonder what they're going to come back as. I had a knowingness about reincarnation. I just was like, there's no possible way that this is, there's just life, nature is too miraculous. It's too fucking miraculous for this to be the only iteration of life. It's just contemplate infinity for 1 minute and then tell me that, right? It's like, there's just too many things. So thank you for sharing.
Yes.
I'm in the same camp. I'm in the same boat. And I love that. I love you. I appreciate everything that you do, your contributions to elevate consciousness, because it's profound. And for me personally, it has been profound for me. So I honor you. I respect you. I love you fiercely. I am blessed to know you. I feel like, thank you, God, right, for giving me the opportunity to be in relationship with you in this lifetime, because I adore you.
I feel the same way. I love you. You're such a gift. She's so fun, you guys. Like, being friends with Kristen is like, every day is like being a kid again. It's so fun.
And that would be a phenomenal like definition of what my life is. If I could just live that out and be that and contribute that to the world, I'm good. Like I've done my thing, and raising consciousness, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, whatever. That's just what I do during the day. But at night, my side hustle. I'm kidding. Okay. Thank you guys for joining. Go to soulwitandwisdom.com to get Beth's free gift. And thanks so much. We'll see you next time. Bye. Thanks, Beth.
Bye-bye.